Had a great experience there, many wonderful families. And one of the families that was at that school was the Vanderwoody family. And so I want to talk to you about Mr. Vanderwoody. His name was Thomas Vanderwoody. So I'm going to read to you a few portions of this article that talks about the life of Mr. Vanderwoody, who I had the good fortune of knowing. He was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in 1942. Vanderwoody left the farm to join the Navy. A pilot, he served the country for 17 years and was a Vietnam War veteran. He married Mary Ellen Earliott in 1964, and the couple raised 7 sons: Tom, Steve, Dan, Bob, Chris, Pat, and Joseph. In 2002, he retired after 26 years as a commercial airline pilot. Between 2002 and 2007, he served as athletics director at Christendom College in Front Royal. So when I was in 7th grade, I was at the school, and some of the sons of Mr. Vanderwoody were at that school. In fact, one of the sons was my older brother's classmate. So there was some contact, and what really was engraved in my mind from those years of Mr. Vanderwoody was the image of him with his son Joseph. So Joseph had Down syndrome, and so when I think of Mr. Vanderwoody, I can't think of him without his son Joseph. Now in 2008, Tom Vanderwoody's life came to an end tragically. So he and his family, they were at their home, and his son Joseph, that Down syndrome child who Mr. Vanderwoody was constantly caring for, he was running around the yard and he stepped onto some boards, and I guess they gave in, and they were covering a septic tank, and so Joseph Vanderwoody fell into the septic tank and was flailing, and his life was at risk. And so Mr. Vanderwoody, without batting an eye, he jumped into the tank, giving instructions to somebody outside to pull Joseph, while Mr. Vanderwoody went under the surface to lift up his son Joseph, and Mr. Vanderwoody drowned. So a very tragic death, but at the same time there was something very beautiful which I wanted to highlight, which is evident. It's simply the fact that he gave his life for his son. As the headmaster of Seton School said, he died as he lived. So the story of Tom Vanderwoody, I think it exemplifies a life of service to others, a life of self-gift, especially for one's family, and even the way that he died, I think, gives an example to us of giving our life and giving one's life to the end, persevering to the end. The remarkable thing about his life was not only the heroic nature of his death, of giving his life for his son, but the heroic nature of his life, that as Mrs. Carroll said, the headmaster of Seton School, he died as he lived. And the way that he died, in that sacrificial moment of his death, we find condensed the way he lived his entire life, which was giving himself for his family and for his son. In a sense, that decision to jump into the tank was not surprising, because he was always giving his life for his family and friends. So, in a certain sense, what we want to do over the course of our life is give ourselves to the people that we love. And Mr. Vanderwoody did that in the moment of his death, and he also did that over the course of his whole life. And I would say that a key ingredient to that self-gift is never quitting, which is what we're going to talk about today.